Hey humans, so if you couldn't tell from the title of this video, I'm just gonna talk about stuff that I like because I wanna throw a little positivity into everything that's going on right now. Because I've been talking about some kind of serious, controversial issues, and it's just draining, and I just wanna talk about, something fun and positive, so I'm just gonna go over, some of the stuff that I've been enjoying, like podcasts, music, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you'll like some of this stuff too, maybe not, I don't know, you decide for yourself. But I figure if you're watching this video, then you at least kind of like my channel because it doesn't have the most enticing title in the world. So if you want to make sure that you see all of the videos that I post, make sure to click the little bell by the subscribe button. It looks like this on desktop or this on mobile. It'll make sure that you get notified of all the videos that I upload so you don't miss any. And I'm sure you've heard every single other YouTuber talk about that 100 times, but that's probably the only time I'm going to mention it. Just going to slip that in there while it's just you guys who like me. Unless you're watching this and you hate me, in which case, I don't understand what you're doing with your life. Find a better hobby, and maybe don't click the bell. Did I just reverse psychology that? Are you now gonna click the bell because you hate me? I don't know, whatever. Let's just talk about the stuff. So the thing I really want to talk about is Supergirl because it's so gay. Supergirl, I don't know, I watched the first season and it was okay, I was getting through it and it was entertaining, but then the second season is when the gay kicks in, and that's when you start to have a good time, is when the gay kicks in. I don't want to talk about it too much so I don't spoil you for anything, I'm not going to be talking about spoilers in any of this, but there is a really prominent relationship between two girls and they directly talk about being gay, and I think it's really, really good and really positive representation on TV. And also the show just has a lot of ladies, everywhere, the two main characters, Supergirl and her adoptive sister are both girls. Lots of the villains are girls. It's just women everywhere, and I love it. But right now it's on a break in the middle of its second season, and they had a few crossovers with The Flash because it all takes place in the DC universe. And so after I got caught up on Supergirl, I went back and started watching The Flash. Not so good. I'm just not a big fan. I don't know. I don't like most of the characters. I'm mostly here for Patty Spivot and Linda Park. And there are two side characters that are only there for a few episodes. Everyone else is just really annoying, and it's just a lot of dudes and not a lot of women. The show rarely passes the Bechdel test. And the main character, Barry, the Flash, just not a bright kid, just really frustrating as a person. I don't know, the whole show is just very straight and boring and predictable. But it ties in with Supergirl, so I feel obligated to watch it. All of those universes also tie in with The Arrow, but I really don't think I can bring myself to watch The Arrow. It looks so much worse. It just looks like an angry Batman-type rich white guy defending his city. I'm just I don't know, I'm not having it. And it has way more seasons than all the other shows. No thank you. So that's what I'm watching by myself, but most nights I end up watching a show with my girlfriend who lives in London, so we have an 8-hour time difference. So in the evening, I watch a show and it's the morning for her. And we've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, and that's really good. I've really been enjoying it. It's a lot more interesting and the characters are more fun, but I'm mostly just watching it for Skye. Skye is bae. Me and Fiona just talk about Skye through every episode. She's great. And I've also started listening to a shit ton of podcasts because I never used to listen to podcasts because I didn't have the time to listen to an hour of something, but I've been driving a lot, going to do groceries or driving to somewhere else in LA, and it's just a lot of time spent in the car because traffic is awful, so I've been listening to podcasts. A few of them that I've really been enjoying are Revisionist History by Malcolm Gladwell and Invisibilia by NPR. Both of these shows kind of have a similar format where they talk about things that you wouldn't normally think about. Invisibilia talks about the unseen forces in our world, the way that we think and interact with people that isn't really tangible. And Revisionist History talks a lot about specific moments in history that were kind of glossed over or we didn't really think about in the right way, but have really interesting ramifications for the modern day. So I highly recommend watching both of those. They've made me think about some wild things that just blew my mind and changed the way I thought about the world. So highly recommend. There's also some more chill podcasts I've been listening to, like Coffee with Crachel, Dear Hank and John, and Bad with Money. Coffee with Crachel is just Rachel Whitehurst and Chris Hubbard. They're a couple and they just kind of talk for an hour about current events and stuff going on in their lives. And that doesn't sound that exciting. In fact, that sounds really boring. But I listen to almost every episode at this point because it's just something to enjoy, something that's background noise, and you get to hear, they have really good banter between them and they talk about interesting things. So I don't know, it's very relaxing and very calming, and I like the stuff that they talk about. Like sometimes it's funnier stuff and lighter stuff, and they also comment on like social issues and political things. They're both really intelligent people. I was actually on one of the episodes of the podcast. This isn't like a plug for it. I was just in Seattle visiting family and was like on their podcast while I was there. So you should go listen to that specifically, but then also listen to the other episodes because it's just a really good podcast in general. I've also been listening to Dear Hank and John, which you've probably heard of because it's by John Green and Hank Green, the Vlog Brothers, the people who do all of the YouTube things. But they're just really funny. They have an interesting dynamic and they talk about funny things and it makes me laugh. And it's a like very feel-good podcast. And the last one is Bad with Money by Gabby Dunn. It's a really fascinating look at the way money affects our lives, and it's like stories about how other people have been affected by money, kind of combined with how Gabby Dunn was raised to not be very good with money. And like if you've ever had questions about financial things, and you have, because we all have, you really need to check it out. Books? I don't read as much as I used to. I feel like I used to read all the time, and I probably read like one book in 2016. But the last one I read was probably a few months ago. It was The Midnight Star by Marie Lu, and it's the third in a trilogy, the Young Elites trilogy, and so good. The series basically takes place on like an alternate world where there was like a plague that killed a bunch of people, and then the people who it got sick but didn't kill, they still have like some sort of marking on them, and they're kind of ostracized by society, but then they also get powers with those markings. And so it's about like a group of the kids who have these markings and are ostracized by society, but have these incredible powers. And it's really fascinating, all the different powers they have and how they go against the mainstream, because it's not your usual like going against the oppressive government kind of thing. Like the main character's not a great person, does some really bad things. It's like, I guess it's called like an anti-hero kind of thing, but it's just, it makes you wonder about morals and all of that. And Marie Lu, the author, is just a really great person. You should probably follow her on Twitter. She's wonderful, and I enjoy all of the stuff she's written. She also did the Legend trilogy, which is like one of my favorite trilogies ever. Like, it's so good. I'm also terrible with music. Never ask me for music recommendations. I ask other people for music recommendations like almost every day. Basically, all I've been listening to recently is like Hayley Kiyoko and related artists that I find through Google Play Music. I love Hayley Kiyoko so much. I've watched the Gravel to Tempo music video like 2,000 times, and if you haven't seen it, all of this will be linked down below, so you need to go watch it. In the behind the scenes of the music video, she's like, I gave that girl my headphones because she's pretty, and I just like, oh, I died. It's so queer and wonderful. I also started kickboxing, which is wild because I haven't exercised in like years. And now every time I do it, I'm like reminded of soccer from like high school, because that's the last time I did like really vigorous exercise. And it's just like, oh, so many like throwbacks in my mind. And it's really just kicking my ass. Like there's been a couple times where I've just like nearly passed out. Like I got really like blurry vision around the corners, and like, oh, it was not great. But the rest of the times, it's been really fun. Like, I get to take out some aggression, which I certainly have at this point, and it's a really good workout, and like I need to be exercising. I know it's good for me, so yeah, that's been fun. I've also been really enjoying my friends, which is not really a thing I can recommend to you. It's just something that I'm grateful for and want to talk about, because I don't know, sometimes I just have these moments where I like realize how fortunate I am to have some of the people in my life who are in my life, and I'm just very grateful for them. Like, I don't know, does that ever happen to you? Like, I just am just like sitting there and I'm like, wow, I'm so fortunate these people care about me. Like, I can't believe it. I don't know how I've gotten here at this point in my life. I'm very lucky. I also have like the cutest girlfriend in the world. Like, she makes me genuinely so happy, and it's annoying that she's long distance, but even long distance, like I love her so much. And she's such a like strong, intelligent person, and she's just like doing really well in life, and I'm just super proud of her. And I don't know, I can't express all of the feelings that I have for my girlfriend. She's also very, very pretty, like very pretty, like gorgeous. Yep, so that's the cheesy stuff going on in my life. I love my girlfriend. And that's everything I wanted to talk about. Sometimes things can just be really shitty, and you gotta step back and look at all the stuff that's been making you happy recently and all of the people that you're really grateful for. I hope that you found some useful recommendations in this video. I would like to remind you, I didn't make any promises about useful recommendations. I know I'm not very great at finding media and stuff, okay? And yeah, I'm also working on some really cool stuff for my channel, so keep an eye out for that. There will be some cool announcements coming like probably this month, maybe like early next month. And I know this video was a little bit different than the other stuff I've done. It probably won't be as popular as the other stuff I've done, but let me know if you enjoyed it, because I like doing this every once in a while. And because this video isn't that controversial, the comment section will probably not be that bad right away. So we can go talk in the comments and I can reply to your comments and stuff, and it won't just be overwhelmed with 5,000 transphobes. Because normally what happens is I check the comments for like a few hours, maybe a day after the video is uploaded, and there's a lot of shit right in the beginning, but it's not as bad as what happens a few days later. So I can reply to comments early on. So if you ever want me to reply to your comment and see it, just make sure you're there within the first hour or so. But for now, at least, on this video, I'll probably be able to stick around a little while longer. You can also find me on all the social medias. You can like tweet me if you want. If you tweet me pictures of your dog or your cat, I'll be super happy. So yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.